Tonight's topic, I find it doesn't get talked about enough. And Sean and I were talking about it last night. I felt that um, what it's basically about is men and their body image, and not necessarily weight, but just other things combined. And we often hear conversations about how women feel about their bodies, and we rarely hold space for men when it comes to conversations like that and what they go through. So I felt that you know with the different things that it could be, like height, hair loss, weight, which are some examples.
Mm.
And I just chose to do this topic because I've seen it firsthand with peers and colleagues. And elementary school, I remember I had a friend of mine that he was bullied in school and stuff, and it really affected him a lot. And he went gung ho, and he doesn't even look the way that he used to look.
When you guys hear the term like with body positivity and all that stuff, what does that mean to you?
Well, I think for myself and probably for many, it's the idea of healthy, working out, being in a gym, pumping iron, lifting weights, having a certain type of a look. Um, and I think it's an interesting topic. First and foremost, I don't. It's not something that is talked about often. I think there's some just expectations that society's kind of put on what men should look like, or how what's considered a man-looking person, if you will. Um, but it can be toxic in that that's where people end up putting their focus on in terms of what they should be, and not there becomes less of an acceptance of who they are. And not that we can't get
Right.
better, not that we can't improve upon ourselves. None of those things are wrong in any way, shape, or form. However, it's you focus on chasing this thing that not isn't naturally, authentically you is kind of what you have to be careful of. Um, because I think a lot of people put a lot of pressure and expectations of what you should look like, and less of an acceptance of who you are, and the reality of where you're at. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So oddly, what part of your body have you silently struggled with the most, and why, would you say?
I mean, being a big guy, always trying to get that stomach down. I mean, that's kind of been my journey for a while. And the last,
Mm.
it's funny we're talking about this. I'd say the last 6 or 8 months, I've been really sort of focused on that a lot more, and seeing some gains and feeling good about myself. And then also too, it gets to a point where it becomes less about um, uh, the optics, if you will, and more about your health, right? And as we age and get older, it's important that we're mindful of our bodies and our overall health and well-being. I mean, the goal is to be on this planet as long as we possibly can, and good health is certainly a big part of that. And so, I think that's where, even myself personally, that's where the shift has been for me.
How about you, Sean? Like, what do you think you struggled with the most?
Um, Same thing. Probably in my adult years, it's just been getting the weight down, the belly, more
Yeah.
so than more so than anything. I'm not a short guy, so I've never had to worry about height or this or that or whatever. I'm fairly muscular. I always refer to myself as a 205 pound muscular guy wrapped into a fat 205 pound body.
Don't kill me.
I like that. I like that.
Has insecurity about your appearance ever affected your confidence?
Um, I'll let Audley answer first.
Okay.
I mean, it's an interesting question, because I think for many, um, I can definitely see where that does have an impact. I think one of the things that I have done for myself personally throughout the years is really, work on my own confidence and my own internal fortitude, built my resilience level up to the point where, and I'm not going to suggest that I'm impenetrable and nothing impacts me, but it does take a lot for me to second guess who I am, or who I am, or how I feel about myself. I think that was some important work for me to do personally. Get me to where I'm at right now, where I feel confident. I'm very sure about who I am. I'll walk into a room and feel good about who Audley Stevenson is, and not second guess whether or not I belong or not, or whether I'm fit, or even if I'm enough. Myself personally, it hasn't been an issue. I accept, the challenges of my body as they are, and continue to pledge to sort of get better. And so and I can only continue to give myself grace as I go through the journey, because you're going to have, and probably, maybe as sort of Sean alluded to, there's ups and downs in this process, right? Where you feel good at one point, and then you're like, okay, I gotta get better, and it becomes an ongoing challenge or journey. Um, but it was really interesting because at the same time, as much as I'm saying there isn't an impact, I also can say that when I do feel good about my weight, or I do feel good about my body, my expression was, stick my chest up a bit more, my back is straight, you feel good about yourself too. And so, while I don't want to say there isn't a direct correlation, there is a little bit of one for me.
How about you, Sean? How has it?
Um,
Mhm.
well, Well, you met my dad, so you kind of know. Like growing up, I grew up with a family and friends who point out everything that's wrong with you. So for me, I got over that stuff as a kid. Like I had big nose and big feet. I was reminded every day that I had a big nose and big feet. My own parents used to call me L because
L.
because I was very skinny with big feet.
Oh, oh gosh.
Yeah,
So, so did that, like, especially being a kid, like, did it affect you back then? Like, I know now you're grown, you don't really care, but back then,
it
how did
did.
you
It
feel?
did a little bit, but I mean, I got to find out pretty young. Like, I'm not gonna be able to like. For me, the big feet thing, I never really cared that much about. But every time, like, I would point out, oh, your nose is so big, your nose is so big. But then, like, there's no workout to change your nose. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I
Hmm.
just, I eventually just got over it and I stopped caring.
I
Yeah.
think I think for me, I remember sort of my younger days. I was seen as a chubby kid, and for whatever reason, that actually uh, I got like a lot of attention. I got notoriety, if you will, for being this chubby kid. I'm not quite sure how that worked out, but it did. So, and I got even a little bit of popularity around that. And so I sort of used that to my advantage. So it was never something I saw as an albatross I'm carrying, this heavy burden, or nothing like that. It actually sort of worked to my advantage, and that's what I just kind of went with.
Okay. So, what unspoken expectations do men carry, do you think, when it comes to body image and masculinity? That could be open to anyone.
I mean, I could say, and it's better to just not care, but there's a requirement for us to be, you know, over 6 feet tall and muscular. And if you're not, you're not. Like, start working on your other, what I mean, the other things about you, your other qualities.
Yeah.
Um, for me, yeah, sure, I'm 6 feet tall. Sure, I've been, and I mean, I'm still pretty muscular, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I consider myself funnier than I am good looking. Um, I'm definitely smarter than I am tall, and these are the things that I focus on.
I hear you.
No, that's an interesting point. I do appreciate it. It's almost like leaning into your strengths, right? Like you
Yeah.
know who you are, you know who, these are the cards that have been handed to you, and this is what this is the situation. So you work to your strengths and take those things up to your advantage and use that to uplift you at the same time. And I would agree with that approach. Um, I sort of go back and talk about the unspoken, expectations. Yeah, there's a lot of shoulds, and this is how things should look, and this is how it's supposed to be. Um, Whether or not that's realistic for me or not as an individual, that's what society sort of put on us. And so the idea is, society's viewpoint supersedes everything else for some people, right? And so if that society said I'm supposed to do, well, that's what I'm supposed to look like. And there's that pressure where I've got to, fight towards that. Pressure is that thing that you can use that as a motivation, right? And if that, because ultimately I go back earlier, I was talking about health, right? It's now about good health. So ultimately, if that motivation to look like this image that society's created is what you're working towards to make you feel like to get better, which is essentially getting healthy, then is it terrible or bad thing? No, not entirely. I think though when you as individuals obsess or focus on something that's not realistic, that's where it can be problematic because it's almost like you're putting all your eggs in the wrong basket, so to speak, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And with that, I would also ask if you ever felt pressure, like dating or just with your job. Did you ever feel pressure looking a certain way, having a certain image?
Myself, no. I think, by the time, when I got to the age or stage in my life where I recognized, uh, who or what I was and what I brought to the table, and my character was formed and fully me, and my approach to how I live my life, all these sorts of things. Because I've always felt those are always more important when if you're talking about dating in the context of dating as an example.
Yeah,
It's the person who you are that matters more than anything else. And so
100%.
I've always been very 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 comfortable with who I am. I think I'm a good person, and I think those are not not that it's just about being a good person, but certainly being an upstanding individual with quality that has something to offer, that brings something to the table, that kind of stuff. I think those things always matter when those supersede looks in the image more than anything else. And even in the professional sort of context, I just have always been comfortable with showing up as who I am, and that's who I am. And I don't try to fit into anything else or anyone else. And so I've not experienced that pressure, fortunately. But again, I think it really goes back into the upfront work that I've done to being very clear on who I am, what drives me, what motivates me, what makes me feel good, what am I passionate about, what difference do I make. Those are questions I look to answer as opposed to, hey, do you look good outside from the optics based on what society says?
Hmm. So what do you think then when it comes to when you see those fashion designers and different people getting Botox and facial filters and all that stuff? I guess,
Yeah, I mean, those things are personal choices. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, we're also individually, on our own journey, on our own pathway, searching for that happiness, fulfillment, and joy in our own lives. And so, if those things bring that happiness and that joy, that fulfillment that people are after, then there's no judgment from my standpoint for certain. I mean, we're all doing what we need to do to make ourselves happy. If that's what it is for them, then so be it, and I hope it gives you what you want, is what I would say.
yeah. How about you, Sean?
Um, for me, I don't think those people are happy. Like if you're getting operated on in order to look a certain way, then you're beyond giving into your insecurities. And I don't think those insecurities go away just because you've got the operation now. I think those people are still kind of looking over their
Yeah.
shoulder, still wondering because it's like, and I say this as somebody who grew up in sports. So the answer to me, if I ever felt pressured, 100%, because I played sports, I had to be in shape, right? I was trying to make a professional football team. I had to be in peak shape right up until I tore my Achilles tendon. So for me, the pressure was definitely there. And I know for me, I was always looking over my shoulder to see, well, who looks like they're playing better than me? Who out here on this field right now is faster than me? Is this, that, whatever, right?
Mhm.
Um, and that's based on my own insecurities, right? Because like I said, I made the cut and I just tore my Achilles tendon. But for the people that are getting the operations, you're doing the same thing. You're giving into the insecurity, and you can bet that when they do, they're looking around and they're like,
Sure.
okay, does this person's nose look a little better than mine? Is my butt round enough? And there's operations for men, not just those
Sure.
guys that are getting the oil injections, but there's literally operations for men to to go get fake muscles put in or get your fat shaped into muscle. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't tell me that if you go and do that, you feel secure with yourself. And you
Yeah.
also know I'm not any stronger than I was. I just look the part now.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
I've
And
seen.
yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I agree with you with respect to, and that's why I said, if this makes you happy, right? I said, if this what makes you happy, then by all means, go do it if that's what you're looking for.
Mhm.
I think there's some inherent dangers of what you spoke to, because there's always one more, one more procedure, or one more surgery, or one more operation I could do to
Absolutely.
make myself better. And you're right. I think you're looking over your shoulder, seeing what other people are saying, and if you've already so put it this way, if you already feel subconscious about the size of your nose, hypothetically, and you go and
Mhm.
get a procedure to fix it in your mind, and someone else comes along and tells you, yeah, your nose was too small, you're already in your head. There's no way you're not thinking about, oh my God, maybe I went too far. Maybe I shouldn't have done this, right? So I think for any decision that you make for yourself, uh, you need to be very, very clear why you're doing what you're doing, right? And if you're doing
Exactly.
it, if you're making this decision because I want to give myself a look that makes me happy and I feel good about myself, and you're sure about that, then by all means. But if you're not sure why that reason is, or you're motivated by what other people think or what society is telling you, I'd revisit that and think long and hard if that's the right choice you're making.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
I can't even tell you how many times I've seen guys that have done surgeries on their face or the muscles or whatever, and I've seen their before and after. Most of them, it's just like they look so much better before, and they just ruin
In most
themselves
cases.
now. Pardon?
In most cases. I said in most cases that's the case.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. And I look at it and I'm just like,
Well,
they
because you
should
haven't
have
seen it
just,
before.
yeah,
Right, natural. That's right. That's right. But I guess again, in that moment though, if someone has these strong convictions and feel that this is what you can't tell them any differently, like you just can't.
no,
If,
you
if I
can't.
feel that this is what it is, and I'm absolutely certain this is the direction I'm going in, Zeph say, all right, best of luck to you, right? But you can't. There's no way you'll convince them that that's not the surgery for them if that's what they feel it is.
Yeah. So when you hear the word body confidence, oddly, what comes to mind to you?
Just how an individual feels about their body and their ability, that body's ability to perform, whether it's in the context of going to the gym or working out or playing in a football game. I mean, it's how they feel about their confidence and confident in their overall look and performance. That's what comes to mind for me.
I think it just says that you to me it suggests that you've grown to that point where you've just accepted who you are and you don't care anymore. Not don't care in a bad way, but you know who you are, you know what you possess, and you're fine with it.
Yeah,
I do think though, like a lot of people confuse it with meaning that you're not willing to do more work. Like I'm very confident with my look. I love myself. But I'm still in the gym and I still run and I still, you know what I mean? Like do all these
yeah,
things. It doesn't mean that I'm like I mean it's sort of like I always joke and say to people like if you love a car, you still clean it, you still put gas in it, you still maintain the car. Just
yeah,
because you love it doesn't mean you're like I'm okay. I'm just gonna let it sit here and like run itself to the ground because I love it so much. So,
yeah,
so that's my
yeah.
thing.
No, that's amazing. And as a female's point of view, I love these kind of conversations. Sean, you know this already, and uh, deep diving conversations is why I wanted to create this platform, because I feel like some women just don't get that side of men and their thoughts and their thinking. So I think it's great. It's amazing to have like both of you guys come and tell me that side of you, because we don't hear it. Because like I said, I feel that it's more women that are you see the Real Housewives of whatever whatever, and like all the women in LA, like it's all like, I think it's mostly women that you see, and you rarely hear the men's side of what's going on in their minds. So it's good to hear that you guys are confident about who you are, beautiful confident men, and I know that for any men that are listening, it's an inspiration, because maybe they might be feeling low, and to know that there are men that think positively about themselves, it could kind of, help them a little bit too. So, um, if I were to ask you one thing you like right now about your appearance, what would it be?
If I just wanted to go back to something cool you just said, Latonya, I think
Yeah.
there's so much to be said about um, um, being clear on who you are and
Mhm.
how you see yourself moving through the world.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, that to me is probably one of the most single important things that we can do for ourselves as an individual
Hmm.
because so I've got this image of if you think of of sort of a young tree in the wind and the branches are flowing right
Hmm.
back and forth as the breeze blows back and forth. That's one image. But when you think of an image of sort of an oak tree that's firm and that's rooted and that's solid, the wind hitting that, it's gonna have a very different effect. And so if you're uncertain of who you are, I liken you more to that young branch flailing in the breeze versus a strong, solid oak that's firm in who you are. You're properly rooted, you're grounded. And this isn't to say that things won't happen. And so it's not, no one's saying that life is perfect. Life will always have obstacles and challenges, and our resilience will always be tested. But that firmness is what makes the difference in terms of who we are and how we respond to those situations. I wanted to add that piece because there's a lot of if there's for me at least, if there's a key takeaway in what we're talking about here, really starts with the sense that we have of self and how confident we are and how much we believe in ourselves.
100%. I agree with that. I agree with that. Um,
Mhm.
and I think, okay, I guess not. Um, so going back to the question then, to like today, if you were to choose something that you appreciate about your appearance now, what would that be? That you like about your appearance?
I am and always have been a big fan of smiling, and so I like my smile. I think um, Uh, I think I rely a lot on that in terms of getting me out of trouble sometimes. But I do think I look at sort of the positive impact and how others can be impacted just by a smile. And so I've always been a fan of my smile.
Nice. How about you, Sean?
All of it. Absolutely everything. I'm the best looking me there is out there.
Well,
I might not
that's
be the best. I might not be the best looking you, but I'm the best looking me.
that's right.
Dunsky. Like,
No,
but
but
you
it's
had to know that was going to be my answer. I
no, but
don't
you know
care.
what? No, but it's important to have that type of confidence. Like that's how you feel and that's what you are. There's a lot of people that feel really low about themselves, and that's why when I went to the surgeries and stuff, it's unfortunate. Yes, it is their decision, but it's sad at the same time to know that they feel that low that they have to do that to change themselves when originally they're just beautiful.
Yeah, well, the one thing that people keep forgetting is the only person you're in competition with on this planet is yourself.
Yep, yep. And
And I already
I
won
would
that.
add to that.
I'm already the best looking me. I'm already the smartest me. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
competition won. Give me my
I
trophy.
I would add to that in competition with who you were yesterday. I think life
Yeah,
is a constant daily improvement, and so what you did yesterday was fantastic. If you climbed some big mountain and you achieved this awesome achievement, that's wonderful. That's fantastic. It's what do you do next, right? What do you do to overcome what you did yesterday? And so, but yeah, I do agree with you. We shouldn't be looking left or the right. We're on our own pathway, like everyone else is doing our own thing, and we should looking to outdo ourselves.
I agree 100%. Trying to think if there's anything if there's anyone in the chat that wants to ask any questions, make a comment, feel free. Like, I've had people come on and say that, I didn't want to say. I'm like, no, if you're there, if you want to say something, you're more than welcome. The comment box is right there. Well, I have one question just to end it off. If your body could speak, what would it say about how you've treated it?
my parents tell me slow down with the fatty foods
Hmm.
and be easy with the nighttime eating.
Okay. How about you, Audley?
Funny, I was thinking maybe similar, but my body would say, "Man, you've taken me on a journey because we've gone up and down all over." And there's been instances where I tested myself physically and I went to the extreme limits, and then other times I'm like, "No, I'm chilling." So it's been we've I've done the circuit, if you will, and my body be like, so where are we at really? Because some days I'm up here, other days like a little over middle of the road, and so yeah. My body would have some questions. I'm like, what are we doing?
So what do you do at night? And now I'm kind of curious to what if it's, let's say, 2 in the morning and you start feeling peckish, do you ignore that or do you say, okay, maybe I should have like two crackers and go to my bed?
I mean, I know for myself, I sort of some sort of thing I try to establish, so I don't like eating late at night, so I tend not to. Um, I've sort of I've gone back and forth on, in the morning time. We all hear important breakfast, the first most important meal of the day, and I tend not to have a whole lot breakfast wise in the morning, and so that's sort of the other thing. But yeah, I think the key is having some establishments in terms of how you want to live your life, so to speak. And so, late night eating is not something I really do. Any of the types of foods, I'm more, again, from a health standpoint, more mindful of the types of foods that I eat overall. So it's awareness, kind of how I see it, as being aware of certain things.
Yeah, and Sean, I know your answer already. Okay, well, it's good to hear that, because it's tough. Like even for myself, I feel I try to stop at a certain time, but then, sometimes you get those little midnight cravings and I don't eat too much, but I feel like sometimes I should just drink water and go to my bed, but it doesn't, to be honest, it doesn't happen all the time. I'm not a perfect angel. So, but
So I think I've
Oh,
changed your
I'm
perfection.
pretty much where I'm going, guys. So gonna have
you
to
gotta
jump
run.
off.
Okay, well, we're
Yeah,
gonna
so I
wrap
don't
it
want
up.
to say thank you for having me, though.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna wrap it up anyways. I don't know if you have any last words, Audley, before we wrap it up, but
No, I mean, thanks for the invite and thanks for the opportunity to chat and share. I mean, I know as a person that sort of, I spend a lot of time in these spaces and sharing insights or whatever. I think you can never have too much of these types of conversations, and whether either there's an awareness or an understanding or a new insight that's gained, and if at the end of the day, one person, takes them from this conversation, use it for their own lives, to help them better themselves, to feel better about themselves, but I think it's worthwhile. And so it's always a pleasure to be a part of these dialogues that potentially can spark great things in people's lives. So thank you.
yeah. Yeah, no, I honestly, I appreciate you coming on. I enjoyed the conversation. And I think that you're actually the last guest for the month. I wanted to
Wow. Thank you.
have well, for the theme, I should say. The theme and the topic of discussion for the month was all based on men's mental health awareness.
Mhm.
And I had different guests come on and share their thoughts, and we had great conversation. And we'll continue. So for anyone that is watching, know that we will go back to 8 o'clock. So every Thursday at 8 p.m., we will have different discussions, different topics, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right, we'll talk a little later, and everyone that's watching, thank you so much for supporting, and we'll see each other next week.